Hey, John with Foodscaping Utah here, and we got a really exciting video for you today. It's June 18th today, so mid to late June, and this is the time in the foodscape when we're transitioning from cool season crops to warm season crops. So we got a bunch of examples of multi-cropping to where you can plant warm season crops now and use the space where cool season crops are finishing. Stay tuned for that. And then we got some flowers to check out. The foodscape's looking really good. This is phase 2 here on this side. So we'll do a little tour of the front yard foodscape, and we'll try to sneak in a little shot of the back. We got some new beds in the back foodscape to show you. I also want to let you know that tomorrow we're going to be harvesting a bunch of stuff that we'll be selling at the Ogden Farmers Market this Saturday. So if you happen to be in Utah, come check us out at the Farmers Market in Ogden, and we'll be raising money for our nonprofit organization Foodscaping Utah that helps people get started growing food. If you want to learn more about that, check out foodscapingutah.org. So in this bed on the left, that lettuce is starting to flower, so it'll be bitter. So we're taking that out now, and we're going to sow parsnip there. And then in the middle there, we've got our fava beans, nasturtium, celery. They'll be here a little bit longer, but these peas, as you can see, are done. So they're coming out now, and we're going to put some squash there. Right, so I cut the peas out and I leave the roots in place, and then I just planted this summer squash. It's a trombetta squash, so it's a little bit like a zucchini, but it's a climbing squash, and we really like it. It has a nice nutty flavor. This bed is filled in really nice. On the left we've got beets, 3 rows of carrots, and then onions on the right. Here, these peas are about done, and we're going to plant some squash just like on the other side and grow it up this arbor. So this is a baby butternut squash. Has an awesome flavor. It makes a little cute squash, and we really like it because it climbs. So it's going to climb up and over this arbor. We've got 2 on this side. And we started it on May 25th, so that's a little over 3 weeks ago now. And the nice thing about doing that is you gain some time in your season. When these peas we're still harvesting that we had here, just cut them out, the plant can get a little bit bigger. It's great to grow squash from seed as well, but we like to do that to multi-crop. So when it's 3 weeks old or a little older, it does get a little bit, it's not root bound by any means, but I like to tease these roots out a little bit because you could see they were starting to circle. So we want to tease those out a little bit, and then they'll plant it, we'll water it really well. It'll need water, quite a bit of water the first week or so by the time it gets established. But then now we're going to have 2 baby butternuts on this side, growing up and over, and we've got the trombetta squash on that side. It's so vigorous that we only need 1 for that whole side. If I walk around this way, in the middle there we've got amaranth. Left the flower is zinnia. There's another zinnia there you can see, some borage flowers coming up, and this is fennel. So here then with these peas, we're gonna harvest them, and then we'll put pole bean seeds in where they were. So that's another example of multi-cropping that you can do. We got that on both sides, and this side kind of mirrors the other side with the zinnias, the borage, the fennel, and the amaranth in the middle. One other thing that I didn't mention on that side is we just started some okra. And then here we've got a few bush beans. So I'll clear out some of the borage to make some space for those as they grow. So if we move this way, here we've got lettuce. There's 9 plants there in a tight bunch, spaced about 8 inches away. And it's bolting now, going to flower, so we can get one more really good harvest. We'll cut it down, and then we'll put cucumber there. The white flower there is cilantro. And we really like to let our herbs flower because they attract a lot of beneficial insects. And we see all kinds of bees and stuff on them. There goes one in there. Here we have more celery and then peppers interplanted, and a catch crop that we're growing in between here is spinach. And it's the end of its season. It's bolting now. So we're going to cut it out. And then behind it there you see marigold, basil, cilantro. So it's a row of that. But with the spinach, it's kind of nice because we grow it there while the peppers and celery are smaller. And then when they need more space, we can cut it out. There, of course, we have Swiss chard. And then these rows continue on the right, celery pepper, and then the cilantro, basil, marigold there. There's a little bit more lettuce that's bolting, you can see. Here's a nice marigold that's flowering now. And this tomato is doing really well. This is a bush tomato, a determinate variety. We're growing that just in a tomato cage, one of the big sturdy ones. You can see it there. And then here's a vining paste tomato and some more lettuce. And lettuce in between tomatoes is a really good example of interplanting or intercropping too. These 3 lettuce plants you can see here, we got them in early and started harvesting towards the end of April, second half of April. So we've been picking for probably about 8 weeks now. And the way we usually do lettuce is we pick the outer leaves first. Here from the bottom, you can see where we've been picking that. Another way, you can cut and it'll come back. You can cut the whole thing out, and we'll get one more big harvest out of these lettuce now, but then we'll let the tomatoes fill that space. And this is a cherry tomato, a sun gold. So phase 2, we like to call this side phase 2, and it's looking really good right now. On this trellis, cattle panel trellis here, we've got peas, a shelling variety, a tall variety, and they've got a little bit left, but they're getting close to being able to pull those out too. So what we've done is we put a nasturtium climbing flower here, and then that's lavender that we planted this year. And if you follow me this way, here, I just planted some pumpkin. So that's pumpkin, and it's a really small one. Here, check out the one on the other side too, real quick. The pumpkin is a pie pumpkin, so it makes a small pumpkin. A really huge pumpkin, it would be a little bit hard to grow up a trellis like this, but we think we'll be able to do it. So it's kind of an experiment to see how that goes. These are collard greens, and this is dill. And then where this pumpkin was is where we just took out a broccoli. So we got a nice harvest, just cut the broccoli out and plant the pumpkin. And then here you can see, this is kohlrabi. You see it? It's a monster. And we're gonna cut that one out tomorrow and take it to market. So then we've got the kohlrabi, the nasturtiums are coming in. The dill, like I mentioned, that's a broccoli plant that we'll go ahead and cut out here pretty quick. More collard and broccoli, collard, dill. It's kind of a pattern there. And then on this end, we've got nasturtium here, and here we already got a nice harvest of turnips. And this is carrots, and they're about ready to harvest. So that's exciting. We're going to pull those out and try some pak choi here. And then in some of these other spots where we have the broccoli, we'll sow some bush beans. Bush beans are really versatile because you can sow them at a whole bunch of different times and they still produce. We like to sow them at multiple times to kind of stagger the harvest. Here on our Belgian fence, we've got yarrow, and it's flowering, looks really nice. This is lavender, and then that's our blueberry bushes in the pots to try to acidify the soil. Blueberries really need acidic soil. And these are all apples on this Belgian fence. More yarrow. And then here in the middle here, this is our flagstone patio, and just this year we put in thyme in the cracks. So we're hoping that thyme, we got one flower coming up, so it's going to be flowering soon. Carrots, more carrots on that side. We had turnips there too, and they're coming out now. And then kale. So this is the dinosaur kale, and we're growing some leeks in with it. So the leeks will take a little bit longer. Dinosaur kale is harvesting now. And in this bed on the left, we have garlic, amaranth down the middle, beets, and then onion on the right, and then potatoes in the back there. And just last night I sowed bush bean seeds right where the beets are, because they're about to come out. So in the little gap there, and they'll be small, they'll germinate in a couple of days, and then the beets will come out, and then the onions are getting close to harvest too. And then one other way we're multi-cropping this bed is I just started a new round of beets, so we can have some summer beets as well as these spring ones. And I started those from seed, and then we'll transplant them in about 2 to 3 weeks when this garlic comes out. And this is the backyard foodscape. So closest to me here is a new bed that we just put in. The little plants on the right there are Brussels sprouts that I just transplanted. There's some marigold in the front there. That's a spaghetti squash, nasturtium, and then that's a pumpkin that's doing well. Got it started a little early. This is a new bed full of potatoes. And this is a tomato plant that didn't have a space for, and I had an extra transplant, and I hate to throw it away, right? So we're gonna try it there. Here we've got new beds where we put sweet corn. And this is our strawberry bed. And it's a year old, so we built that bed last year, planted the strawberries last spring, and then now this year, we got some strawberries last year, but the real big harvest was this year with the strawberries. Fantastic. Here's asparagus. They've been here for quite a while, and then the back here, this part of the foodscape's a little bit older, right? Here we have cucumber. And we've got it going up this trellis here, up a single line. And here we've got a bunch of tomatoes. And you can see the hoops on there. This is, we had a low tunnel here. And if you want to know more about how we did that, we've got a video showing how to do the low tunnel and then transition to a trellis, kind of a combo. And then here's a tomato called Gold Nugget, which is kind of cool because we've already been harvesting some of it. It's a super early bush variety. And I'll grow it here and then take it out once the sun gold needs more space. It's nice for early, but it's not the best tomato. And there's an artichoke that's doing really well, 2 artichokes. And in the background there is our orchard. We'll have to save that for another tour. But thanks for watching Foodscaping Utah, and grow your own.